Welcome to our first episode of Altitude and Attitude present A&A Light. This is where we, two of us or all three of us, can get together and have a discussion about a disagreement that we may be having. And Hog and I seem to have found one this morning. You want to tell everybody what we're going to discuss today?
Yeah, we're going to discuss our differences of opinion on this arrest of a senator in California in his own district. And so you see it one way, and I'm seeing it another way. And
Right.
we just thought that this would be a good one to get other people's opinions on it too. Please, let us know if you watch this later or now. Then let us know what your opinion is on it, because this isn't one that I'm dead set on, so I can be moved if there's a valid what I think is a valid reason to move. Right now I'm stuck where I'm at, but I'm not it's not a deep conviction of mine. But
Right. So for those that aren't aware, yesterday Homeland Security Director, is it Kristen or Christy Nome?
Yeah.
Was giving a press conference about
I call her Puppy Killer.
The puppy killer. Right. The puppy killer was giving a press conference about the LA protests and the response that they were giving. And during her press conference, Senator Padilla, a Democrat, was, I don't know, he wasn't arrested. They're saying he was temporarily detained by Secret Service, FBI, and the local police during the press conference.
Yes. Well, and my problem with this is, number one, they jumped right out there to say that he didn't identify himself. We all got eyes and ears. I watched it. He held his hands up and said, "I am Senator Padilla." The second thing is, this is my view of it, is he is a sitting senator, and his literal job is oversight. It's his district. He had every right to go in there, because this administration won't answer the phone to a Democrat. So what do you got to go do? You got to go find them where they're at. And that's what he did, in my opinion, and then was arrested or detained. For doing so. And I'm sorry, you don't treat a senator like that is, number one, holding his hands up, and number two, saying, "I am Senator so-and-so." If that was a law, Margie Green would be in jail like every other day.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is the second time this has happened, because that mayor that got arrested on his city property.
Was it
where he
New
had
Jersey?
Every right.
I can't remember. Was it New Jersey?
Was it Chicago, or was it?
It was a city in the United States.
Yes, and I'll but yeah. But he's the mayor. He has every legal right to be on his property, and he got arrested. And then all he was doing was waiting in the waiting room for a tour. But they want this spectacle. This is a spectacle that they want, and that's what they're doing. And so they do it when Democrats are in office all the time. Margie Green, remember
that woman from Colorado?
You lied during the State of the Union. Nobody got arrested there. All of a sudden, we're just arresting folks for using their voice to be heard. And you don't want him interrupting your shit, then answer the fucking phone.
Right. But I think this is pretty typical of this administration to do that. And again, the one thing that we keep saying, and we're going to keep saying, is this cannon that MAGA is creating can and will be eventually turned around and used on you. So you better stop and think about it before you start acting like this. Now, my thing with Padilla, see, the video doesn't show the whole thing. The videos that I'm seeing is him being detained, is the Secret Service grabbing him and pushing him towards the door, and he's not yelling or screaming. He's trying to get his point across. But from what I see in the video, it looks like he's trying to push himself past Secret Service. And if there's one thing that we all know, if Secret Service detects what they perceive as a threat, they will react regardless of who it is,
And
whether
I'm
it's a senator or anything. And
not.
if you watch during the whole thing, Gnome is a puppy killer. I like it. I'm going to start using that. Puppy killer is just talking. She's not guiding anybody. She's not saying arrest that man, kick him out or anything. Like Donald Trump likes to kick him out. She's not doing anything like that.
A lot of these orders go unsaid though. But um and yes, I do know that, and I'm not even arguing that he shouldn't have been pushed out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not arguing that. But by the time he got out of that room, they were well aware that he was a senator.
Right.
And who he was. And the locals obviously knew who he was.
Right.
So at that point, once you get him out of the room, how about we check your ID and verify or something? They did not have to. Like I said, the locals knew who he was.
Right.
And Secret Service most likely knew who he was.
Right.
So why did that stuff in the hallway where he got thrown down and handcuffed and all that? That was all just intimidation tactic because they didn't need to do that.
So I see what you're saying, but the one thing that we have been preaching ever since the Donald Trump trials is that no one is above the law, and that includes this senator. And if this senator was deemed a threat by Secret Service, it doesn't matter who he is or where he came from. They're going to have to go through their checks to make sure that he isn't, or if he is an actual threat, because a senator can still be a threat.
Okay, but what I'm saying to you is that they are in his district. His literal job is oversight.
Right.
That's his job. He's doing what his district sent him to Washington to do, which is get answers. Why are your people in my district? Right. That's what his people sent him to Washington to do. That's what he went to do.
Right.
That's his job. That's his literal job. And like you said, Secret Service did their job. They just overdid their job.
Well, but he
wasn't swinging punches. He wasn't.
Right. But again, and this is the hard part about the conversation, is we didn't see what happened before Secret Service started pushing him out of the room. I mean,
there is video up. There is video of that.
Is there?
Yeah.
Because I'd have to look to see.
He basically shows up and it's basically just he just shows up and starts throwing questions out there.
Because when I see the video, it looks like he's pushing himself through. But either way, if the Secret Service deemed him a threat, it doesn't matter if it's his district, if it's his front yard, or his living room. It doesn't matter. If the Secret Service deems him a threat of any kind, they have things that they have to do, regardless of who it is. Even if it was Obama, they would have to jack him up.
I will totally agree with that. But where our disagreement, we're almost on, we're that close to agreeing.
Right.
However, they knew who he was because he told them.
Right.
And the locals really knew who he was. So they knew that he had a right to be there. First of all, how did he get there if he didn't have a right to be there? They already didn't do their job at the door. So they knew who he was.
Right, but I don't think
couldn't have just walked up in there.
Sure. There was lots of people there that I didn't recognize. I recognized him, right? But again, I don't think the argument was that he didn't have the right to be there. What I saw and what I've heard is that I heard that he lunged. Of course, that came from puppy killer, right? So I don't know if that's true or not. I don't see video of him doing any kind of initial lunge, but I can say, based off of what I saw with Secret Service, he was fighting Secret Service and trying to push his way through there. And you and I know if they show up, you better not fight them because you'll lose.
Well, I feel like he was, first of all, I think he was thrown off guard that their hands on him because he outranked the person that he was there to talk to.
Right.
He just does.
Right.
So you work for me and you won't answer your phone, so I'm coming to talk to you.
Right.
And those cops also work for him.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So I mean, like that's where I'm having a hard time believing that nobody knew who he was.
I think, but again, I think they knew.
And I know what you're
he
saying.
was.
It doesn't matter if they knew or not. He was a
Doesn't
threat.
matter.
I don't. If you look at interrupting somebody and using your voice is not a threat unless you say I'm going to blank whatever.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
There was
I
no
wonder
threat like that at all.
That's what I'm. Oh my God! Look what we have here.
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, I wish he was here to
get drunk with us.
Take your Adderall today.
Yeah. For those that don't know, this is our co-host Stanford, who's apparently out causing trouble. I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Probably texting and driving if watching video.
Right. Right. So I think Secret Service doesn't have an agenda. Secret Service doesn't work for anybody. Secret Service protects and guides the people that they are there to protect. So if Puppy Killer decided she wants to go outside, Secret Service could literally say, you're not going outside for whatever reason. You're going through this door, you're going through that door. They control the scene, period. And so if Secret Service, for whatever reason, deemed him a threat, I mean, it's up to their discretion, right?
I know, and I concede that point. I feel like it went too far.
I mean, what would stop? Let's just play this game. We think that MTG is an unhinged individual. Would you agree?
Arrested like that in anywhere by Secret Service,
but you would agree that she's unhinged.
Yes, but I also agree that she has a First Amendment right to speak her mind.
What I'm trying to say is, what would stop somebody like that from actually trying to assassinate another member of the administration?
I don't think that she's that nuts.
Okay, right. But I'm just using her because she's probably the most unhinged person in all of Congress. What would prevent a congressman from attempting to assassinate a member of the administration?
Well, I get your point, Pete, and they again, and this goes back around to who didn't do their job at the door if he is that threat, because if he had he obviously went through a magnetometer. He obviously did all this stuff. This administration is highly, highly secured because of how evil they are. They're just evil, and everybody in the world is mad at them. So there's no way that he gets to where he's at without having the right to be there.
Right, but wouldn't you agree that just because you've gone through a magnetometer and you've been searched and they know who you are, wouldn't you agree that you can still be a threat in some way?
Yes, you could. I mean, we could do good. Yes. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's what Secret Service is there for. I mean, can you imagine if this had been an actual physical violent threat against her and Secret Service was like, oh, we know this guy, we're not going to do anything, and then boom, something happened.
And had he made a threat or lunged or tried to rip her off the stage, you know what?
Yeah, we don't know.
I'm standing by the fact that he was her boss, because he is.
Mm-hmm.
She is in his district, because she was, and he went there to ask her a question, and he did.
Right.
At what point is this a threat? And then you get in there. I mean, this man has a security clearance. They know who he is.
Right.
Secret Service knows who everybody is that has access to get to.
You know who else has a security clearance? You know who else has a security clearance?
Yeah.
PD Hegseth.
Yeah, that's true.
And he is one of the most incompetent individuals on the planet.
Dude, I would have went to jail for plugging my phone into a computer.
Yeah, right. So security clearance, knowing who you are, being somebody's boss doesn't mean you can't be a threat.
Well,
And
I guess you know what, Pete? I guess this is the
that's the
problem,
thing.
is I don't want to get used to these new normals. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's my problem
Mm,
because these new normals suck. Because it's not normal
right.
to have Secret Service arresting um, senators. It's not
Right.
normal to have Homeland Security arresting mayors on their own property. It's
Mhm.
not normal. So I don't want to make it normal. I
I
don't ever
agree.
want it to be normal.
I agree.
It's not normal to have a president threatening people on Twitter. It's
Right.
not normal
Right.
to have a sec def tweet. What do you call that? Texting unsecurely battle plans. None
Right.
of this is normal, and they do so much of it that people, even though those of us that disagree with them, it's almost becoming normal to us. We
Right.
can't let it. It's not normal.
Right. Right. And I
But
think
letting it become normal.
I think one of the most logical conversations we had last night in our After Dark
That
series.
was a logical one.
Yeah, I think there was one logical one. One thing that we all three were talking about was that specifically, right? The conversation was let's just imagine for a moment that everything this administration wants to do is the right thing. The way they're going about doing it is wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And like you said, it's the new norm that we don't want to get used to. I absolutely agree with that.
I refuse to get used to it. I will not get used to it. I will not normalize racist talk. I will not normalize sexist talk. I will not normalize the reversal of all the work that we did in the 90s and 2000s. I won't.
Mhm.
I'm not going to. We worked too hard. Did we get complacent? Yeah, we sure the fuck did, obviously.
Yeah.
Because we just voted in 2 times. We have voted in the 70s and 80s
Right.
twice.
Well, if we're lucky, the 70s and 80s.
No, 3
If we're
times.
lucky.
Because this is retard Tommy's second freaking term. So, I mean, we've done it for 12 years now. We have voted for the 80s to come back.
Right.
We might as well elect Carter next. I mean, he's in the grave. He did a better job. My
Well, now
God.
that's a different debate there. But I tell you what, it's been fun doing this. I kind of like this idea of A&A Light. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we had some viewers. Thank you for
Everybody
everybody that showed up. I actually didn't expect us to have that many.
Make sure and like and subscribe to our stuff. It helps us out.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything. It helps us out a tremendous amount, really. And Hog, I want to thank you for coming on here and talking about this. It's been a good time. All right.
Next time you want to pick a fight with me, just text me.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining us. And always remember, if you're not pissed off, you're not listening.